Alright, so we're back. I'm going to show you how I stack and decorate cakes. I'm going to start off with my simple syrup. There are two ways to apply simple syrup. You can get a little squirt bottle and just kind of drizzle it on, or you can get a pastry brush and just kind of paint it on. The most important thing is kind of the outside edge. That's the part that gets a little more dry. This cake, however, is incredibly moist, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about it. Also, don't worry about putting too much syrup on your cake. You'd have to put a lot to make it too much. So then you put some of your buttercream. I don't have an exact amount, I just eyeball it. And I like to use an offset spatula. It's a lot easier than the flat ones. You can get a little bit more precision with it. And I start with pushing the frosting to the outside, and then I'll even it out. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but if you can get it pretty close, you have a lot easier time at the end. Then I'm gonna go on with my next layer of cake. I personally don't like to add too much frosting in between the layers, especially on the bottom tier, because it will squish out with the weight of the other tiers. So I try to keep it semi-thin without being no frosting at all. All right, so then back with your simple syrup. This is a very important step. I'm gonna go on with my final layer, and I'm gonna put it on upside down because the bottom of the cake is extra super flat. Alright, so even though this is just a 2-tier cake, if you want it to look perfect and professional, it's best to double check that this bottom tier is perfectly level. I have a well-used, very clean, this is very clean, it doesn't look clean, level here. And I start by just placing it in the middle, this direction, and it's even. And then I'm gonna turn it this way. Now you can see it's a little off here, so I'm gonna press on this side a little bit. As long as you get it about that close, and I'm gonna double check again one more time this way. Make sure I didn't mess it up. All right, so it's pretty level. Before I do anything else, I wanna make sure I don't forget my simple syrup. Now's the fun part. This part is called dirty icing. And that doesn't sound very good at all, but what you're doing at this point, some people call it a crumb coat. You are trying to trap in all the crumbs so that when you go to do your final layer of buttercream, you don't get any of that weirdness in there. So I just start with smoothing off the edges here. And you just want it to be super duper thin because you want it to be very even as well. All right, just a little bit because, like I said, it's just for crumbs. Just press it super flat. This is very important because otherwise you'll have an uneven layer when you go to actually do the real thing. All right, so to level off the top, you start completely across from you and pull straight towards you. Straight towards you, turn, straight towards you, turn, towards you. All right, at this point, you're gonna put this in the fridge or in the freezer for just a few minutes to set this coat up before you try to do the next one. All right, I'm gonna do the exact same thing I just did to the chocolate tier as well. So this particular bride wanted kind of a ripple effect going up the side of the cake. We start with some frosting on the top. I like to work from the top down. So I'm gonna start with giving myself a nice thick coat of frosting all the way around the cake. And then I'll work on getting my look. Now that I have a pretty thick coat everywhere, I'm gonna try to even it out just a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're not going for a flat cake. So now that I have the sides pretty much how I want them, I'm gonna go ahead and even off the top. Just like I did with the dirty ice, except only lightly pressing it. Start at the edge, farthest from me, and pull towards me. And turn. Make sure you clean your spatula off with each turn. So since this is a very simple, elegant buttercream look, I don't need to go too much smoother than this, but I do want to get rid of a little bit of the bubbling. So once I've refrigerated it and cooled the frosting down, I'm gonna smooth it out once again. All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing with the chocolate one. Kind of eyeball it a little bit. And that's why you want it to have nice hard buttercream so that you can adjust it a little bit with your hand. So now I'm gonna fix that little gap in between the layers. I do love borders to fix this. Some people want a border, some people don't. I'm just gonna smooth everything out and make it kind of match the rest of the cake at this point. This cake will have fresh flowers, so I'm not too worried about making the edges perfect because that will be hidden with the fresh flowers. Now, because I have to deliver this cake quite a long distance, I am going to dowel it. I'm going to stick a dowel right down the middle. I have sharpened the end of this so that it will go through the cardboard underneath the top tier. So this is the finished product for today. We will finish decorating once we have the fresh flowers at the venue. We'll show you some of that once we get it done, and it will look a million times better. It will just match what it's supposed to look like once it has the flowers. That's all I have for you. If you would like to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. Comment below, give me any tips or hints on what you'd like to see next. Any info you want, let me know, and I hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you next time.
Real